All right, well, welcome to the Sports Guys. Another weekend recap. This is Monday, May 12th. We have a lot to talk about, a lot of things happening every weekend in this sports-packed part of the calendar. How you doing, Robbie?
Doing great. Doing great. Just did some more dog training today. That was interesting. And we're just rolling. School's
How's
out.
how's your
Uh,
dog Eddie Van Halen doing with it?
he is rocking and rolling. He is learning. He is very stubborn, but he is learning and he's super smart according to our trainer. So here we go.
That's great. So any sports events stand out for you this weekend?
Just back and forth basketball games, it seems like. Everyone does the opposite of what happened the last game. Hockey's been incredible. So I just, not really, not one event, no, because there's so many events going.
I actually have enjoyed every single one of the hockey series. I literally am
Yeah.
watching all four of them. And then on the NBA side, pretty much the same. There may be one or two series that are not too great right now. Like with Steph Curry hurt, I think Golden State's pretty much toast.
Yeah.
But for the most part, the NBA series have been really good too, and I just have enjoyed the action from the
I've
very
really
beginning.
enjoyed the I've enjoyed the NBA a little more than normal. I think the basketball has been pretty good.
Yeah, it has been. Really enjoyed it. And then I spent a lot of time Saturday and Sunday also watching college lacrosse, which most of the games came on at 12, 2, and 4, so kind of filled the afternoon before the big games came on later. So I watched a lot of lacrosse. I watched the big upset by Richmond over UNC. That was a huge deal. Richmond's biggest win in their program history. And a
Mhm.
couple of other upsets occurred as well. Duke got knocked off, and it's just a really strange lacrosse year this year. The big Blue Dogs are not holding, and you've got teams from the Big Ten and teams from other conferences that are coming up, and it's just it feels like March Madness basketball, but it's in the lacrosse bracket. It's really amazing.
It feels like the big money is now in the Big Ten and the SEC is number one, and right behind it's the Big Ten. And since the SEC doesn't really have much lacrosse, they're not very dominant yet, but they will be because the money's there. That means they'll get the players. So, but the Big Ten has money and is pretty good at lacrosse. Not great, but good. So they've made a quantum leap into,
Mhm.
that stratosphere above, like almost above the ACC now.
And a team that struggled in the ACC all year, but you knew they would have something in the tank is Notre Dame. They're clearly the
Yeah,
best ACC team right now, and
yeah, I
they're
think so.
they're they're making another run. I mean, they played really well this weekend, and
Yeah, they look like they could do it. Not as easily as in the past where they were pretty certain to do it, but it looks like they could do it. Who knows?
and then the Ivy League, of course, lacrosse is one of their big sports, and
Yeah.
they've really represented in this tournament with Yale and Harvard and Cornell and
Hmm.
Princeton. It's been playing really well, and
Yeah.
Ivy League has really showed up. And to me, this year's tournament, it's about the Ivy League and the Big Ten. Those are the two that are really dominating. And you got one chance for the ACC, and that's Notre Dame. That's what it looks like. Of course, Syracuse is still in it too, but um, and they have Joey, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. It's been a really interesting. You know, you can't count on the favorites winning, and it's been crazy. Even Notre Dame was unranked coming into the tournament, so
Yeah, the Blue Bloods there's some parity, so it's kind of exciting.
it's been fun. And then we have a lot to talk about around the rookie mini camps. There was a lot of stories coming out of there. We'll talk
Mhm.
about that. And then about 30 minutes ago, the NBA lottery just took place, and some crazy fireworks happened in the
Mm.
NBA lottery. We'll get into that towards the end of the program, but we got a lot to get into. So,
Let's
anything
go.
else strike your fancy?
Just loving the hockey, and surprisingly, how much I always like the basketball a lot, and as it gets deeper, I like it more and more because I think they play harder and harder. I've enjoyed this playoff basketball so far.
Yeah, me too. Me too. It feels like this year some of the regular blue bloods in every single one of the sports we mentioned are starting to get a little bit of a comeuppance. And it feels like some of the younger bloods are coming up in all these sports. You're starting to see some new powers emerge, and that's kind of exciting. To see
Yeah,
the OKCs of the world and some of the others that are out there. And Florida's
yeah,
struggling a little bit in hockey, and
and you can feel the Celtics are struggling a little, like they're kind of getting older and expensive, and
you have the Washington Capitals that were the best team in the East the entire season, and now they're really struggling against the Canes. And So it's interesting. It's really been a fascinating run in the playoffs so far. Let's go take a look what we got.
Go.
All right, well, let's take a moment just to give a shout out to our sponsor for tonight, and that is Jersey Mike's. We're really happy to have them back on board with the Sports Guyz. I just finished off one half of the number 13, which of course is my favorite sandwich, the original Italian, and it was delicious, and I'll have the other half tomorrow for lunch. So what do you think of Jersey Mike's, Robbie?
Oh, I love it. I've had it twice this week. I almost usually get it on when we're having a podcast. And my girlfriend gets the buffalo chicken, so it's pretty popular in our house.
Nice. It's delicious. It's just so fresh. The people are so friendly. They're easy to find. They're all around you.
It's affordable. It's filling. It's fresh. It's easy to get. It's quick. And like you said, the service is extremely friendly.
It is. And I even like eating there sometimes too. Actually, their restaurants are kind of fun to sit outside or sit inside, whatever.
Yeah, when you come visit me in Raleigh, we usually go there and sometimes we eat there, and it's a great place. We love that place.
Well, guys, check out your local Jersey Mike's store. Go to jerseymikes.com where you can get one of the DoorDash or Uber Eats guys to deliver one to you or a couple to you. And check it out as soon as you can. And we'll see you next time.
It's a sub above. No question. Sub above.
Take care. This is our weekend recap, May 12th, 2025. The playoffs heat up. You got the Stanley Cup playoffs. All four series, like we talked about, have been really fantastic. We were really excited about the Capitals and Canes series. I was not overly excited about it from the standpoint of having to choose because they're my two teams, but it's been a really good series so far. I've been impressed with the Canes defense. I think it's just been
and goaltending.
The Caps have not scored in 6 periods now, and that's really unusual for a team that was one of the highest scoring offenses this year. So the Canes really just have the Caps on lockdown as of right now.
Yeah, Burns and Slavin have been on point on defense.
The Maple Leaf series is weird because they went out to a 2-0 lead, and then they've lost the last 2 to Florida, so now they're 2-2. Dallas Stars are sitting on a 2-1 lead in their series against the Jets. And then you had the Vegas Knights come back and finally win one after going down 2-0 to the Edmonton Oilers. So really all these series are highly competitive and lots of great hockey being played, as you said.
Yeah.
On the NBA side, you've got the Minnesota Timberwolves with Ant really emerging as one of the big stars in the NBA, probably one of the top 3 or 4 players right now. He's kind of taken control of that series with Steph Curry out. The best series, I think, in the NBA right now, of course, is OKC and Denver. They're knotted up 2 apiece right now and really looking like this is going to go 7, as we thought it might. You have a lot of stars on both sides in that series. So
yeah, I can't stop watching that one.
I'm not really sure what's going to happen. I picked OKC in 7, but I don't know. I mean, Denver's just so scrappy.
I love the way all of Denver plays hard together. The whole team scores, the whole team plays defense, everyone's rebounding. You'd think a team like that is just relying on Jokic, but it's not like that.
It's exactly right. And I don't know, it's hard to bet against Jokic. It's hard to bet against these guys that all have a ring. But at the same time, they're playing, in my opinion, the best team in NBA, which is OKC. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. In the Knicks-Celtics series, the Knicks go up 2-0 on 2, in my opinion, kind of fluky wins. Both of them, they were down over 20 points and ended up winning at the buzzer.
Yeah.
And Celtics controlled them in Game 3, and they're controlling them right now in Game 4. So my feeling is that's going to tie up 2-2, and then I give the Celtics a decided advantage on the way from here. I just don't think – matter of fact, I don't think the Knicks will win another game. I think it'll be a 4-2.
Yeah, the Knicks got fortunate on a couple of really huge defensive plays right at the end of the game. I'm not going to call it luck or anything like that, but those don't always go your way. And when you're playing a team that's a little better than you, you've got to make it – you can't rely on kind of a lucky play at the end of every single game and get through.
And then out of these 8 series, probably the most unlikely and the most totally surprising one has been the Cavaliers and Indiana Pacers.
Yeah.
And then the Pacers, with a 3-ball at the end of Game 2, go up 2-0, winning both games in Cleveland. So Cleveland's in huge trouble. And then,
Huge.
and then they dominated game 3. So then it was 2-1. And you're thinking, okay, here comes the Cavaliers. Then last night, they get absolutely blown out of the building by the Pacers, and they're down 3-1 and don't look anything like the team that was the number 1 team in the East all year. And I don't know how they're going to be able to get out of it. It just looks to me like the Pacers are the better team in this series. They have more energy. They're rebounding better. They're playing better defense. They're making the clutch shots. Cleveland is going like 1 for 13 in threes in the first half. And I don't see any way for them to get out of it right now. It's just a strange spot for Cleveland. We'll see if they can.
It feels to me like Cleveland is just tired, and I don't know why.
Yeah.
They feel like they're falling apart. Like there's a bunch of little injuries that you get when you're tired.
And really, our boy Ty Jerome has been just horrific in this series.
Some of the guys playing have been in and out of the lineup. Their biggest strength Cleveland has is they have a very deep bench. They have a very wide array of players. They can rotate and be healthy and fresh. And for some reason, a lot of these guys are breaking down.
Ty Jerome is 1 for 20 from 3. And Mitchell is like 3 for 23 from 3. Like they're all shooting just horrifically right now. And you're not going to last long in the NBA playoffs if you shoot like that. So I don't know. Hopefully they can find a way out of this. So on the other side, you got the NFL rookie camps that took place. You have some really cool stories coming out of there. Ashton Genty's looking really, really good in camp and looks like he's going to really flash this year. So I'm going to really be watching him with the Raiders. You've got Jackson Dart is just throwing darts all over the field. They've been giving him all the first team snaps in the rookie minicamp. Been fun to watch him, and he's been building a real nice camaraderie with Cam Scatabo. And been really cool to see the two of them. Apparently they've been hanging out, going to dinner, going to lunch, like kind of two rookies who know that they have a future together. So really cool to watch. Then you got Cam Ward, who's been playing great. He really impressed his teammates in this rookie minicamp, and then he also impressed behind the microphone. Everyone had not really heard him speak very much before, and apparently he gave press conferences 2 days in a row that showed a lot of poise and that he really is ready for this kind of number 1 in the draft position that he got. And then the big story coming out of rookie minicamp was the sharing of the load between Dillon Gabriel and Shadeur Sanders, the two of them splitting time in rookie minicamp. And a lot of speculation that one of them might get dealt before.
I'm hearing rumors that Shadeur Sanders is on the trading block, and they're just waiting for the right deal to come along.
Right. Any thoughts about the rookie minicamp, some of the stories you're hearing?
I have consistently felt like this draft is a pretty strong one overall. I know that the quarterback element of it is a little questionable, but I think some good quarterbacks are coming out of this group. So I think we're looking at a lot of stars in the making, to be honest with you. I think a lot of teams got better from this draft. I think deep into this draft, you're going to see all pros, 6th round, 7th round picks, 2, 3, 4 years from now. And so it's exciting to watch them in their little fledgling careers start to put it all together and get the rookie hazing behind them and get sort of the deer in the headlights on those first exotic blitzes they're going to run into. But these guys are going to be in good shape. I think
it's fun because the rookie minicamp is a 3-day camp. It's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and it's the first time these guys get to work with their new NFL coaches. They get to work with their position coaches. They get to know their receivers. They get to know their linemen a little bit. They get a little bit of live fire. They get to run the playbook that they've been learning the last 2 weeks. And it's just fun to see. It's fun to see these guys actually get some reps. So,
yeah.
And I thought Dillon Gabriel and Shadeur Sanders both handled it really well. Like they both handled it pretty professionally. So I want to commend them both. That it's a tough situation that they're trying to do where Jackson Dart and others only had themselves to deal with, but the two of these guys had to share the load. So I thought they both handled it pretty well.
For now.
Yeah. So let's look at some of the weekend scores coming out of the NHL. You had on Thursday night, the Capitals tied it up 1-1. Got a really good defensive performance out of that game. The Oilers went up 2-0 in their series with a really excellent game. Actually scored in overtime to win that one.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people thought the Golden Knights were done, and then of course they came back and are trying to make it a series. The Panthers finally get a win, 5-4 against the Leafs, and got their first game in this series. And then it was 2-1, and the Jets tied it up 1-1 against the Stars on Friday as well. Those are some of the scores coming out of the pre-weekend, and then in the weekend itself, Hurricanes win 4-0 on Saturday against the Caps. They played incredible in that game. I will say I watched the whole thing. The Capitals played better than the Hurricanes for most of the game until about 4 minutes left in the second period. And then the Hurricanes just opened up a barrage of goals. It was crazy. And, I know they have that capability, but it was pretty wild to see.
Some of the stats were pretty awesome to look at. The Caps and the Canes. The Canes led the Caps in shots 28-21. They led in power plays 2-0, 2-0, and power play goals. And then blocked shots, Canes had 13, and the Caps had 27. So they just had a whole lot more to block. They had a lot more to worry about.
Mm-hmm.
The Canes, when they turned it on, they dominated.
No doubt.
But yeah, to that point, they were kind of playing lackluster, and it wasn't very
It's
impressive.
interesting because the Capitals, I think, were frustrated because they definitely outskated them for a period and a half
For a while, yeah.
and couldn't get anything in. And I think a lot of it had to do with the Canes goalkeepers playing really well. And
Yeah.
The Caps just were very frustrated. They couldn't get something in. And then eventually, of course, the Canes broke through. So
Yeah,
So
and then it was barrage.
exactly. Also on Saturday, you had the Golden Knights get there first. So now they were down 2-1 at the end of that game. So they're trying to make it a series. Then on Sunday, the Stars get another one. They go up 2-1 with a 5-2 victory. And the Panthers shut out the Maple Leafs and tie it up 2-2. So everybody who was saying the Florida Panthers were done, etc., is a little bit early because the champs might have something to say about that.
Mm-hmm.
Any thoughts about some of this other action on Sunday?
Yeah, I mean, it's really cool to watch Niederreiter, who used to be a Hurricane, Nino Niederreiter, playing for the Jets. He's doing a great job. But I think the best player in hockey right now is Mikko Rantanen.
Me too.
He was with the Canes, so they just traded him.
What's
So
crazy is he has
terrible.
three hat tricks in the playoffs already. 3 hat tricks.
Yeah. Yeah, he
So,
has
yeah.
9. He has 9 goals, and he is playing out of his mind.
Remember I
And
told you
if
last
can you
episode.
imagine if the Hurricanes hadn't traded him?
Remember last episode you thought McDavid or Draisaitl might win the MVP, but I told you I really am watching Rantanen because
Yeah.
he's playing that well.
Well, I was really sad when the Hurricanes traded him. I knew they only had him for a short time. They got him in a trade and then traded him away, and it didn't make sense to me. But we got a lot of good young players for the Hurricanes, so that's fine. But I think he's the best player in hockey at this moment.
And by the way, the Panthers goalie in this game, this 2-0 game, was just on fire. If he plays like that, they're going to go back to the finals. I mean, he was just stoning them at every turn. It was crazy. He's a fantastic keeper.
He is.
So
the only problem with him, he gets a little injured sometimes. That's the only problem. If he stays healthy, they have a legitimate shot.
Yeah, if he plays like that, they're in good shape.
Yeah.
The whole thing about the Panthers are done, all that, I never bought into it. I always felt like
I think Bobrovsky's the best goalie in hockey.
He's amazing.
Yeah.
I always said this series is going to 7, and I felt like maybe the Maple Leafs would get it done this year, but I won't be surprised if the Panthers win in 7 at all.
Yeah. Bobrovsky is his 5th playoff shutout.
So looking at the bracket now, coming into tonight, you got the Stars up 2-1 with Rantanen going crazy. You have the Oilers up 2-1. You have the Panthers and Leafs tied at 2-2. And then you have the Hurricanes up 2-1 on the Caps and leading tonight in the game. So, what are your thoughts kind of midway through these series about each one of these? Who do you think is going to win them?
I think Panthers win, even though it's tied.
Game 7?
Uh, uh, probably 6 or 7. Probably 7. I think the Hurricanes win in 6. I'm not sure. I think probably Edmonton is going to win against Golden Knights. I will tell you, the Golden Knights are very physical.
Mm-hmm.
They hit a lot. They're always dominating their team. They're playing in a physical fight, so that can be really tough in the playoffs when they're just beating the heck out of each other. And then Stars, Jets. I want to say Jets. I want to see Nino Niederreiter continue forward, but honestly, I don't think anybody can beat Rantanen right now.
I agree.
I just think that guy is on fire. Back-to-back hat tricks, with just tremendous amount of goal. Last time it was a bad game for him, he had 1 goal and 2 assists. I mean, it's just he's so good.
So I like the Stars to win their series in 6. I like the Oilers to win their series in 6. And I think that's going to be a fantastic Western final. Stars, Oilers.
Yeah.
And then on the other side, I still like the Maple Leafs in 7. I think the fact that 7th game is going to be in Toronto, they're going to be so geeked up. That game might even go overtime. I think it's going to be just a really big squeaker, whoever wins that series. But I think it's going to be the Leafs. And then I picked the Capitals in the Hurricane series, but after watching them play offense the last 2 games, I'm with you. I think the Hurricanes are going to get it done in 6 or 7. So
The Hurricanes have added some really nice young players.
And then I think Hurricanes Leafs is going to be a really good Eastern final as well.
Yeah.
So we shall see what happens here.
I think it's Kings, Panthers, and
what's exciting is none of these teams are out of it. I mean, it's either 2-2 or 2-1.
Yeah. They're phenomenal series.
Yeah. So looking at some of the headlines coming out of the NBA, the Pacers against the Cavs, we talked a little bit about this. The player of this series so far has been Halliburton. He's really one of the young up-and-coming stars in the NBA, and he's just gotten better and better and better. He has a nice cast around him too, but he's the difference maker. I mean, the reason they've been winning these games is he makes all the big plays at the critical times. So this kid Halliburton is something. Any other thoughts about that series?
I like what I see from Indiana's bench. I think they always contribute. They always play hard. They always have 1 guy or 2 guys up there in the scoring. So
why do you think the Cavs are struggling so much on offense? Like, what happened? They were blowing people out.
Well, Donovan Mitchell's kind of hurting right now.
They can't hit a shot to save their lives.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they got cold. And I think Indiana's defense is part of the problem. I think they're a very good defense. They play really hard. They slap the floor. And generally speaking, I think Indy presents a lot of matchup problems. I think they're really well coached. I think Rick Carlisle is doing a phenomenal job. He's the winningest coach in franchise history for them. I think he doesn't get enough credit as one of the top coaches. He is.
Yep, agreed. Looking at the next one, Knicks, Celtics in a tight series. I think after tonight it'll be 2-2. And as I said before, I don't think the Knicks will win another game in this series. I think it was a little fluky, those 2 wins they got. I mean, I'm not taking anything away from them, but the Celtics are clearly the better team and will win in 6 or 7, I think. Do you agree with that?
Could go 7. I think it could go 7. I think the Knicks might win 1 more, but I do think it's been a little fluky to get those wins against the Celtics. I think the Celtics are the better team, but the Knicks played scrappy, and they played with nothing to lose, and they made big defensive stop right at the end, steals on both those wins. So
the fact that they went down more than 20 points in all 3 of these games and won two of the 3,
you can't keep doing that.
Right. It's pretty crazy, but it's gonna be a tight series. We'll see. I still think the Celtics are the better team there. Nuggets up 2-1 on Thunder, and now just got tied up 2-2. So this series is just epic, like we thought it was going to be. I still believe it'll go to 7. I've still got the Thunder to win this in 7. It'll be in OKC. But will I be stunned if Jokic and the boys pull this off? No, I will not be stunned at all.
It's the best series there is
this
year. And I think the Nuggets are going to get it done. I'm not sure of that, but I just have a feeling the way their team plays is so dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone contributes, everyone plays hard, and everyone scores.
Yeah.
Who do you stop? Okay, go ahead. Jokic, that's fine, but you're going to pay the price if you concentrate just on Jokic.
There were people that were saying, Thunder in 5 and stuff like that. That was ridiculous. They're playing the Nuggets.
No.
The Thunder in 5 stuff. This is a really epic series. I'm really enjoying it. So,
yeah.
So the last one is the Timberwolves and Warriors. The Warriors come in really hot. They had to get in via the play-in game, got in, and then won their first round series, played great. And then Steph Curry got hobbled in game 1 and just hasn't been the same. Missed the last 2 games. And, when he went out, the Golden State Warriors were up 1-0, and now they've lost 2 in a row to the Timberwolves. And Timberwolves look really dominant. So
I don't know, though. I mean, I think that might be a little overstated. There's no question that Steph Curry, that's a devastating loss, temporary loss. And Draymond Green's trying to make up for it, so he's been getting in foul trouble, and that's a problem. But on Saturday's game, they lost by 5, but they were up by 5 in the fourth, deep into the fourth quarter. They could have won that game. So
maybe.
They just didn't quite have enough oomph. But
I personally don't think they can win the series without Steph Curry. That's just me personally.
I agree. But anybody who thinks they're just going to lose from here on out because Steph's out, I just don't think they're watching the team closely enough.
Mm-hmm.
Minnesota's out-rebounding him pretty dramatically, so that's a problem.
And by the way, even if Steph was fully healthy, I still think the Timberwolves might have won this series in 6 or 7. So I just think they're the better team. So
I agree.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens there. In terms of the weekend scores, you had the Knicks pull off that stunning, amazing upset in the second game, 91-90 to go up 2-0. You had the Thunder blow out the Nuggets to go 1-1 and tie it up. That was a really impressive series, a really impressive opportunity there. You had Cavaliers win 1 against the Pacers to go down 2-1. And the Nuggets pull one off against the Thunder on Friday, which gave them a 2-1 lead. Then you had the Celtics finally get one against the Knicks, go down 2-1. Timberwolves beat the Warriors with the hobbled Steph Curry. Now they're up 2-1 in the series. And then Thunder beat the Nuggets to tie it 2-2, and the Pacers go up 3-1 with a 129-109 win last night. Any other thoughts about some of these results?
Friday, Cleveland. Donovan Mitchell got 43 points.
Yeah.
I mean, that's carrying him on your back.
And he couldn't do that last night. And so what happened is they got blown out. They really didn't have a chance last night. They just can't get enough scoring.
And Gilgeous Alexander has had a little bit of a tough series at times.
Yes.
He doesn't look like the best player in basketball right now.
But don't you think he's going to break out in one of these games?
Probably.
You just feel it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. This is really fun to watch, though. These series are very competitive, which is cool to see. So here's how it stands right now. You got Thunder Nuggets 2-2. You got the Timberwolves 2-1, and they're playing tonight. Cavaliers are down 3-1. They're on life support. And then you've got the Celtics looking like they're going to tie it up 2-2 tonight against New York. So that'll be
Boston hit the most threes of any team during the regular season of all time.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they're just going to start pouring it on and overtake the Knicks. That's just probably what's going to happen.
I think so too.
And if you look at Saturday's result, where they beat the Knicks pretty badly, the Celtics shot 50% from 3, and the Knicks shot 20% from 3. Right. That's a huge difference. And fast break points, the Celtics got 18 and the Knicks got 8.
All right, so
there are multiple facets of the game that really started to tip it back towards the Celtics.
So midway through, who do you think is going to win each of these series?
I think Celtics are going to beat the Knicks. I think the Pacers are going to beat the Cavaliers. I wouldn't have thought so before, but I think the Nuggets get the upset over the Thunder. And I think the Timberwolves win.
Yep. I've got the Thunder in 7. I've got the Timberwolves for sure. Pacers take care of the Cavaliers, although I think the Cavaliers might go 3-2, but then I think they get finished off. They just don't have enough right now. And then I think the Celtics win in 6 or 7. I'm not sure if the Knicks get one more, but I do think the Celtics at home will pick up the Game 7 win if it goes to that point. So those will be some pretty good finals, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Pacers, Celtics, Thunder, Timberwolves. Kind of how it was predicted when we did our mid-season update, if you remember. That's how we had ranked everybody except for the Cavaliers. Yeah. Looking at the rookie mini camps, here's some of the stories coming out. What it means that Shadeur Sanders went number 2 to Dillon Gabriel to open Brown's mini camp. Essentially, Gabriel got a little bit more snaps. Of course, he was drafted 2 rounds higher. Anything to take away from that Sanders was second in the rotation?
It's very clearly that they had an internal struggle, and so they got both guys. And it's just an open competition. But it's painful to watch when it's so obvious that a GM wanted something and the owner wanted something else. It's like it's crazy. But
and they didn't let the coach be the tiebreaker because he would have gone Gabriel.
This team needs to be in lots of position group battles, which means not only are you going to get the best results out of each guy, but you're going to have depth. So.
But isn't it classic Browns that they can never solve their quarterback problem? You know, Johnny Manziel
and you create a quarterback controversy right out of the gate.
And now instead of 3 guys on the roster, they got 5 guys on the roster. You just kind of like feels like flailing a little bit.
Yeah.
So Dillon Gabriel's reaction to drafting a Shadeur Sanders, I love it. I thought that was a really interesting reaction. Do you think that was sarcastic? Do you think he's just trying to say the right thing?
No, I think he thinks he's going to beat out Shadeur. He's glad that Shadeur came to Cleveland. But that's just my guess.
You think they'll become friends?
I think they already are, probably.
Possibly.
Yeah. You work together and you do the best you can.
Like I said, I think they both handle it very professionally. I wouldn't have thought that after draft day, but I think it's been okay so far. So we'll see what happens. Also in the Giants camp, Jackson Dart impresses early in camp, and Cam Scatabo ready to prove himself. And you can see Dart there, number 6, and Scadabo's wearing number 44 this year. And as I said before, it's been really fun to watch the two of them hang out together and get to know each other. So what are your thoughts about the Giants? Have they gotten better this year?
We'll see. I mean, their offensive line is always, quote unquote, improved or rebuilt, and it's every year seems like the worst offensive line in football. So
do you think Russell Wilson's going to be running for his life?
Yeah, if you have a bad offensive line, I don't care if you have Scatabo or Jackson Dart, a big, strong quarterback, they're going to get murdered.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, did you see the video of Abdul Carter standing next to Scatabo and Jackson Dart?
No, I just know he's a monster.
He's so much bigger than them.
I know.
And they were so much bigger than the coach.
I think the Giants have gotten better because they had nowhere to go but up.
They're better, but I think it's dramatic. It's sort of like last year when people were saying Chicago was going to go to the Super Bowl.
Well,
it felt so off target that just wasn't.
I feel like they've gone from 3 wins to 6 wins, that kind of thing. They're not a playoff team.
Yeah, a little better.
Yeah, a little bit better, a little more competitive.
But they're still not great,
They're in a really tough division. So
yeah, they got to compete with the Commanders and the Eagles.
So next one was Cam Ward and Xavier Restrepo's connection shines at the Titans rookie minicamp. And this is something that you and I both predicted, that as soon as they signed Restrepo as an undrafted free agent, that he was going to quickly become Cam Ward's favorite. Any surprise there?
I've been watching Restrepo for quite a while. I've always been extremely impressed with him. I couldn't believe that he wasn't picked. He wasn't drafted. So I'm not surprised. Cam Ward's going to be a good quarterback. I'm not sure about the coaching staff there. That remains to be seen a little bit.
I feel like they're in the same category as the Giants. They had 2 wins last year. They'll probably get to 5 or 6 this year. They're moderately improved, but they need another draft or 2 probably.
They need 2 more drafts.
Yeah. And so they'll win a couple more games and be more competitive.
Yeah, they're not in a very good division, so they'll get some wins.
So the next one is Panthers rookie minicamp. McMillan looked smooth in his practice field debut. He was running just incredible routes, and some of the veteran guys, including Adam Thielen, were saying that they hadn't seen a rookie pick up the playbook this fast. He's only looked at it for 2 weeks, and that he understands the whole route tree already. It's pretty encouraging. Not only is he running great routes, but he understands the playbook.
Yeah.
So do you think McMillan's going to be a hit right away?
We'll see. I don't know if they're going to have the green light to throw very much. So there's a certain reality you have to deal with.
Well, Bryce threw a lot more the last 6 games of the year, right?
Yeah. He's starting to throw some.
And he likes these big targets. So I'm really excited about him. I think he has a lot of promise. McMillan.
Yeah.
So last one here is the Raiders first rounder Ashton Genty hits his rookie minicamp ready to build a new brotherhood. And they said that a lot of the coaches had never seen a rookie take instantly the leadership role. Like everyone listens to this guy, even the quarterbacks. So instantly walks in and he's the leader of the team, at least the rookies. And
I couldn't believe some of the criticisms I was hearing of him because I would have picked him in a heartbeat.
And he wants to build a new brotherhood, which they were asking him later, what do you mean by that? And he said, a culture. He wants to help the Raiders build a culture.
When's the last time you saw a home run hitter at running back like that? It's been a while.
Yeah, and Rob, they have Brock Bowers too.
I know. They're starting to get some pieces.
Yeah. So it's going to be exciting to watch them, I think.
Yeah.
I like the Raiders.
But who's their quarterback?
That's the problem. They didn't do very well in that category. They do have Geno Smith, so
yeah,
he's not terrible.
It's okay.
Yeah. So looking at free agency, some of the offensive stars that are still available on the board, you got Amari Cooper, is a very productive receiver, highly sought after. The problem with him is obviously his salary is pretty high late in his career. So doesn't it feel like someone's going to pick him up? It's going to be kind of late, maybe midway through training camp or something like that. Try to get his number down a little bit. Right now he wants $16 million. Maybe they try to get him down to 10 or 12.
Mm-hmm.
But I do see him signing eventually. I think somebody will pick him up, especially if somebody gets hurt in training camp or something. Then you got Aaron Rodgers is still available. He was trying to work out a deal with the Pittsburgh Steelers during the draft and just after, and everyone was announcing that it was about to be signed, and then it never was. And it was a really curious thing that Steelers kind of backed off. So what do you think's going on there? I've been trying to figure out the buzz around Rodgers. Is he going to play? Is he going to retire?
I don't think there's that many teams interested, and so he's a turnoff to the few candidates that he could go with, so to speak. So I think he tries to come in and control some things, and I think that's a huge turnoff.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to say, I want to call my own plays. Well, no,
Mm-hmm.
We want you to listen to offensive coordinator. He's like, I don't have to do that. I'm Aaron Rodgers. And they're like, we don't have to sign you. So
right.
I think he's kind of.
I think it was true. They were really close right after the draft, and he was about to sign. He was really close, but I think he has so many end of the negotiation demands. That was probably one of his diva demands that just like was probably like, okay, that's it. I can't do that.
Right. Let's not waste
each other's so many
time.
things thrown in, like something like, I'm only going to participate in half a training camp or something, or I don't know what it was, but
or I'm only going to play every other game or something. You're like, what?
Yeah, exactly. J.K. Dobbins, very productive running back, played really great last year and has had a really good couple of seasons in a row. Is the cap casualty because the Chargers had drafted 2 years in a row really solid running backs, and Harbaugh's going to go with the younger, more inexpensive guys who are cap friendly. So, any thought about a older guy like Dobbins, 29 years old, very productive still, what's going to have a bigger cap number?
Well, I think they're just going to have to find a situation where everyone can live with his salary, but I don't think he's good enough to demand the highest. So it's just get the agents out of the way and get it done.
I mean, someone's going to pick him up, I have to think. He's too productive not to, but he's going to want 8 or 9 million, and someone's got to have to figure out if they can fit him into their cap.
Right.
So interesting. Those three are still available. On the defensive side, Asante Samuel, really great cornerback, still available, also wants top dollar. And Zadarius Smith is a defensive end pass rusher. Makes an immediate impact if you sign him, but also wants top dollar. He's talking like he wants top 5 money. And he's a little bit long in the tooth. So this happens in the NFL where these guys get a little later in their career. They're still productive. But teams would love to have them, but not at the top dollar number.
Just too expensive, yeah.
Some other notable free agents: Keenan Allen is no longer with the Bears. Mike Hilton, the cornerback, and Rasul Douglas, another really good cornerback. So of these 8 guys, you think most of them get picked up before training camp or during training camp? And the teams try to use the delay to get their number down a little bit?
Pretty much. I think more than half of them are signed somewhere, but there'll definitely be some of these left over at the end.
Mm-hmm. I think all of them go between now and week 1, except for maybe Rodgers.
Yeah.
I think all these guys will find a spot because they're all really good players. We shall see. Some other news. We have Derek Carr retiring. That was a little bit of a shocker. Everyone knew he was not going to play this year, but they figured he would try to come back in 2026, and he's decided to hang it up after 11 seasons. So now the Saints have 2 really young guys competing for the starting job, including this guy that they just drafted from Louisville. Any thoughts about Derek Carr deciding to hang him up?
I thought it was interesting. I thought he had a few more years to go. I didn't think he was at the end like that. That's going to hurt the Saints.
I agree. I don't think either of the other guys are ready. So
no.
Tyler Show, we'll see what happens.
Kellen Moore already had his hands full. Now
it's
more of a crisis.
I do think he's going to get the Saints turned around over the next 3 years, but this may be a tough year for him. He might have kind of a Dave Canales type year in his first season. This was really interesting. The Texas Longhorns have committed $40 million to their payroll this year, which is twice the amount they were thinking about for the salary cap, the NCAA, that are going through the big lawsuit right now. And so the dollars that the top 5 programs are spending is so mind-boggling that it's blowing way past any kind of salary cap. What are your thoughts about this? I mean,
that's why they need to move quickly with a salary cap, because it's going to get more and more out of hand.
I mean, nobody can compete with this. I mean, maybe Ohio State, Alabama, and Georgia, and that's it.
And Notre Dame.
40 million?
Yeah.
It's pretty incredible what's happening in some of these schools.
Yeah.
I mean, we know Texas has a lot of resources, so.
Yeah.
So I don't know. They better get control of this quickly, or these are pro leagues essentially. They kind of are already, if you think about it. Yeah. So next one is the Cowboys and the Steelers agree to a blockbuster trade involving George Pickens, who comes over. He's going to be on the other side from CeeDee Lamb. He became a real headache and a problem in the locker room and a problem for the coaches. He got into a bunch of scraps at the end of the year. He got thrown out of a game. He did a lot of kind of spoiled brat kind of stuff at the end of the year, but is incredibly talented. So thoughts about Pickens? Is he going to make the Cowboys better? Are they going to be able to settle him down? Is he going to be a problem by midseason?
So I think both things are true. I think he's a great player that can help your team win, and he's also a toxic player that can make your locker room lose. So, which one are you going to get week to week? Who knows? I think probably keep it together for a little while, but it's the wheels are going to come off this season eventually.
That's exactly what I think. I think you'll see him be a good teammate, and he'll play really well, and he'll make some great catches. And about week 8, week 9, the wheels start coming off, and he'll start becoming a problem again. He's just one of those players. He can't control himself, and he does a lot of anti-team kind of things.
Yeah, he's an Antonio Brown kind of.
Yeah, and when that happens, when you go to week 9, week 10, then Jerry Jones is going to get blamed for it, that he brought this problem back over.
Yeah.
What's funny is he said this move showed that they're going all in. And I'm like, how is this going all in? I don't get it. They still can't run the ball. I don't know. I didn't quite understand that comment, that somehow this is going all in.
They got some good young linemen, but they need time to gel.
They're trying to help Dak, which is good. They're paying him $60 million. But
there's no telling how linemen are going to arrive in the NFL. Like,
their line might be trash, and they can't run the ball. So it's Anyway, I thought that was an interesting comment that they're going all in. It's crazy. The Lions couldn't put a team around Matthew Stafford for 11 years, so they traded him to the Rams, built a great team, and now they're only a Matthew Stafford away from winning the Super Bowl. What do you think of that?
That's wild.
It's kind of true, right?
Kind of.
Let's be honest.
It's not the quarterback play that was the problem. Last year, they just had so many injuries.
He was good, but in the big
they had 9 of their 11 starters on defense were out.
Are you telling me if you're the coach of the Lions and it's those big moments in the NFC Championship game, you wouldn't rather have Matt Stafford? I would.
But was he the difference?
Maybe.
I don't think so. No, they had 9 of their 11 starters on defense out at the end of the year.
Yeah.
You can't play with backups.
You think Goff's good enough to win a Super Bowl?
Yeah.
You do? Okay. I guess we're going to find out because they've got a great team, and we know that.
He's pretty good, and he's on a great team. So
yeah. This is kind of a funny comment, though.
Yeah.
So this is the top 10 rookie QB seasons in NFL history. They now are saying that Jaden's was number 1 for the Commanders. Russell Wilson, number 2. Justin Herbert, 3. Robert Griffin, the 3rd, 4. C.J. Stroud, Ben Roethlisberger, Cam Newton, Dak Prescott, Dan Marino, and Caleb Williams. So those are their top 10.
Dan Marino is 9th?
I know. I was like, what? You went to the Super Bowl. Yeah.
Why is Caleb Williams on the top 10 of all time?
I don't think he should be on there either. I thought he was kind of disappointing.
I mean, he was decent. He was okay.
Any thoughts about, let's say, the top 5?
Robert Griffin on 4th of all time.
I mean, Russell Wilson won the Super Bowl his rookie year, so I mean, I can kind of see that.
Yeah, he was good.
Jaden goes to the NFC Championship his rookie year. Pretty amazing too. I don't have a
few names in there are a little questionable, but I think it's not too far off.
Yeah, agreed.
But Dan Marino 9th, no.
Cam Newton at 7. That was a pretty good year. I don't know. I don't have a lot of problems with these first couple up here. And Jaden being the top 1. Yeah, I could see that as a possibility. So the Washington, D.C. Commanders get the NFL draft in 2027. They also got the announcement that they're rebuilding the RFK Stadium site where you and I went as kids. They're putting a new $7 billion stadium on that site, which is fantastic. So they're moving back to D.C. So what are your thoughts about what does this mean for the Washington franchise?
It's very exciting. there's a lot of transients there, so it should be easy to get a lot of all fans from all teams to represent, which is cool. And
think about what Josh Harris has done. He owns the 76ers. He comes in, he buys the Commanders for $6 billion from Dan Snyder. Okay. In one season, he hires Adam Peters from the 49ers. He drafts Jaden Daniels. They go to the NFC Championship game. He gets Washington to pitch in half of the money for a new stadium on RFK site, and then he gets the NFL draft. That's all in 1 year.
yeah, that's awesome.
I mean, he's got to be like owner of the last 2 seasons, I would think.
Yeah, he's a good owner.
Yeah. Pretty exciting.
Mm.
Looking forward to seeing that. So the last one here is the Utah NHL franchise finally unveils their new name, which is the Utah Mammoth. And you can see the mammoth there, the new symbol. And then this really funny meme, looking forward to the battle of the extinct white Ice Age era creatures with large, sharp protuberances angrily facing right. I thought that was really funny. So what are your thoughts about this new name for the Utah NHL franchise?
I mean, I think it's pretty cool. It's kind of unique.
You like Mammoth?
They're decent, yeah. You know, that was Van Halen's name when
Yeah,
they
I
first
saw that.
started.
You know, one reason I like it, one of the things you have a struggle with when you're naming a sports franchise is you have to go trademark it and patent it.
Yeah.
And there's so many team names already taken that you have to think of something kind of different, like the Washington Commanders.
Yeah.
You got to kind of go outside the box these days because there's not much left. And
Seems that way.
so maybe Mammoth was part of that. You got to go outside the box. So I kind of like it. I don't know. It's growing on me since they announced it a week ago.
It's
Pretty
cool.
good.
I think it's cool.
Let's look at the NCAA Men's Lacrosse Championships. This is round 1. So the first couple games here, the big game, the big upset, Richmond, the Spiders knock off North Carolina. I watched this game. It was just unbelievable. I mean, it was just so charged. And the Richmond guys were running around. The coach was crying. I mean, it was just a huge deal for that program. Penn State knocks off Colgate. Princeton knocks off Towson. And then the other big upset, Georgetown takes down Duke. Everyone was thinking Duke might make a sneaky run to the finals. Any thoughts about some of these results?
I think the Georgetown Duke one was pretty surprising. Richmond had a good year. They beat some really good teams.
They beat Virginia.
Carolina was up and down, so
it was still a pretty big upset.
I wouldn't have predicted it, but I definitely don't think it's that surprising an upset.
I think Richmond's program, you can't really take them for granted anymore.
Right. In anything.
They've been coming on.
In any sport, you know, they're formidable.
Mm-hmm. You'll see a trend where a lot of the, unranked teams are winning. It's been really interesting in this bracket, like we talked about, kind of a March Madness scenario. So then you had Notre Dame, who had lost to Ohio State early in the season, blew them off the field. It was crazy. It was such an amazing performance. Chris Kavanaugh went crazy. Couple goals, couple assists.
Yeah.
That was a great game. And then Syracuse-Harvard was an epic game, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Finally, Spallina and his boys get it done in overtime, 13-12. And Spallina played really well. So Syracuse finally gets it done for the ACC. Maryland just took apart Air Force. They really shouldn't have even been on the same field. It was kind of an unfair match. And the same thing with Cornell against Albany. Cornell, of course, is my pick to win the whole thing. So any thoughts about these Sunday games?
I've been saying for a while, keep an eye on Maryland.
You're right.
And keep an eye on Syracuse.
And what about unranked Notre Dame?
Yeah. Well, you don't want to play a championship, like a team that's got the championship DNA.
They won 2 in a row.
Yeah.
And everyone wrote them off. Everyone wrote them off because they were unranked.
Yeah.
And then they come do this to Ohio State at their home.
Yeah.
So this was interesting. There was a lot of upsets, and then there was a lot of these kind of unranked programs that usually are good that, kind of showed themselves again. So it was kind of fun to watch. Let's look at the women's side of the bracket. Maryland takes care of Fairfield. Johns Hopkins wins. Michigan knocks off Akron. Yale, UPenn knocks off Army, and then Virginia Cavaliers, the women, knock off Long Island. That was all in round one. On round two, Florida squeaks by Stanford. That was a really good game. They're the one good team from the SEC. North Carolina women beat Clemson. Duke women crushed Virginia. That was a really disappointing performance. We were actually favored in that game. Yale beat Syracuse. Maryland loses a heartbreaker to UPenn. Boston College, who a lot of people think are going to go to the final, won against Stony Brook. And then Princeton wins against Johns Hopkins, and then Northwestern beats Michigan. So you can see, like you said, a lot of the Big Ten teams are really coming up these days.
Yep.
Any surprises on the women's side?
Duke crushing Virginia women's is hard to believe.
I know. I couldn't believe that either. I could not believe that either. They just they didn't have it that day. I was watching the highlights of it. I think North Carolina and Boston College are still on a collision course in this tournament. Florida can make some noise. Princeton can make some noise. But, BC women have been there 2 out of the last 3 years. So everyone's expecting them to get there again. Going to be exciting. So we have our 2-part subscriber challenge for this week, guys. Please drop us a comment. The first one is, which teams have looked best so far in the NHL and NBA playoffs? So you got to give one of each. So Robbie, who's been the most impressive hockey team and NBA team?
I can only give one.
Yep.
I'm saying Dallas Stars.
I agree. I've got Dallas.
Yeah.
And what about in the NBA?
Maybe Minnesota Timberwolves.
Okay. I say OKC. I mean, they're tied 2-2 right now, but in terms of their 2 wins against a really good Nuggets team, I still think OKC is the best team in the NBA. So
yeah, probably.
I'd say the Dallas Stars and OKC.
I just wanted to go a little bit outside the box.
Yeah, of course. Guys, drop us a comment. Who do you think are the best so far? You pick one team for NHL, one team for NBA. Let us know what you think. Second part of the question is, will Aaron Rodgers play this season and for which team? So think about this one, Robbie.
Tend to lean no. Only because I can't think of the team that would take him based on need. The teams that need a quarterback are now very slim, very few. I don't really see a team taking him. I'm not sure what team would need him. Maybe the Titans.
I would have said, even a week ago, I would have said yes, that he's going to go to the Steelers. But the fact that they essentially have passed on him now, I think he was the only team where it made sense.
I'm not sure if it did. They don't like players that draw that kind of attention.
I am 100% sure he's probably not going to be on a roster week 1 of the NFL. I think it's the kind of situation you might have a team bring him in for like $20 million midway through the season because someone had a blowout of a knee or something.
Like Tampa or something.
Yeah, I just have a feeling he will play this year, but I don't think he'll be there at week 1. I just think he doesn't want any part of training camp.
If Baker gets hurt, what do they got left?
Yeah, I think he gets brought in mid-season somewhere, and like a half-price salary to fill in for somebody.
I feel like he's a West Coast guy. I could see him with the Raiders, but I'm not sure it makes sense with what they got going.
Maybe Raiders, maybe Steelers. That might be the only 2 spots I can see. So I say no on day 1, but I do think he will play this year at some point. I think he'll try to avoid training camp. So drop us a comment, guys, what you think. All right, before we start the mailbag, we have some late-breaking news happen right before the podcast. Let's look at the NBA draft lottery results. This was just shocking. The Dallas Mavericks had a 1.5% chance to get the number 1 pick. They were projected to get the number 10 pick, and they somehow make it all the way up to the top and get the number 1 pick, and are most certainly going to take Cooper Flagg. My Charlotte Hornets, who are the top team to get the number 1 pick, end up falling all the way down to 4, which is just such a classic Hornets thing to do. Then you got the Spurs get another really top pick, and so do the 76ers. 76ers actually moved up a couple spots from their projection. Then you got Utah, Washington Wizards, Pelicans, Nets, Raptors, Rockets, Trailblazers, and Bulls. So anything immediately strike out at you here for the lottery results?
I mean, it's incredible that the Dallas Mavericks, with a 1.8% chance of getting the first pick, get it. And now they're a serious contender if they get Cooper Flagg. It's so sad. The Charlotte, what? The Charlotte Hornets are always bad and always lose out on the first pick.
It just sucks. It just does.
Yeah.
They're always 2 or 3 or 4.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah.
They need a first pick. Like they need one so bad.
They do.
Yeah.
I was so disappointed.
I know.
And then the other big announcement is I want to just highlight our Sports Guyz channel, and we are to 19.5K subscribers.
Let's go.
It's amazing to me, guys. And I want to thank you guys so much for following us and going with us on this journey and just exploding the channel. You know, it wasn't that long ago we passed 1K subscribers. We were really excited about that. And now we've gotten almost to 20K, and I just can't thank you guys enough.
It's so fun from our standpoint because when we put this together, we were doing it literally just for fun. And then we realized monetizing and kind of getting onto a bigger platform, bigger audience, and then realizing that it keeps going and growing and growing. And it's so cool that we're reaching so many people, and we want to hear from everybody because we're just like you guys out there, and we're just having such a good time. We do this anyway. We've been doing this for so long, in our cars, on the phone, on the way to work.
Yeah, we do.
And, we always call each other when there's breaking news, and you know, it feels like we're doing it in our car, but we have our cameras rolling, and it doesn't feel that different, to be honest, even though there's a lot more people listening. And we really wish we could kind of interact with you guys a little bit more. It would be a lot of fun, I think. So
yeah,
it's been a blast. Let's keep going.
What do you think of your picture this week?
It's terrible, of course, but I like it actually. It's I look deep in thought as darts are landing around my head.
Coming out of our Target Sports episode, you guys have given us some good feedback on that, so thanks so much.
Yeah,
I'll hand it over to you.
Okay, a couple pieces of news. The Greek Freak is open to being traded. That's news. Interesting.
I saw that.
Michael Jordan is joining the NBA NBC coverage broadcast this fall. So that'll be really cool to have Jordan as a commentator. I never thought we'd see that.
You know, do you think it's because he saw Tom Brady doing it and he's like, you know what, I can do that. I'm the GOAT.
I think he's bored. I think he was an owner of a basketball team. That was exciting. He's been away from things for a while now, and I think he's like, I still feel young enough. Let me work. Let me do.
There's only so many days you can be on your yacht. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Drunk again on the yacht. You know, not that he drinks, or I don't know what he does anymore
these
days.
Did you see what he's worth now? Did you see he's worth now?
Billions. I don't know.
He just passed 4 billion. 4 billion. That's crazy.
I think that everybody needs a purpose out there, and everybody needs to feel needed and like they matter. So sometimes these billionaires need to keep working because it makes them feel like they're alive, you know?
Right.
Next item, Chris Berman is staying at ESPN until at least 2029. He re-upped the contract.
They said that he'll hit 50 years. 50 years at the same company.
And Donovan Mitchell's ankle is leaving him iffy for Game 5. So that's not going to help very much.
Jeez.
So, all right, let's get to the mailbag. All right, first one, another solid breakdown from the Sports Guyz. Love the insight on the second round sleepers. This was from @Jennifer from the NFL Draft Wrap-Up Show.
Oh, that's great. Thanks, Jennifer. Yeah, we do our
We
best to
appreciate it.
bring that to you.
Second round sleepers. We had a few in there. We'll see. Hopefully, it's going to be.
Rob and I talked about there was not a lot of flashy stars this draft, but there's a lot of solid starters. And so
Yeah, a lot of talent.
and that's where you're going to get them. You're going to get them in like that second, third round.
And
Solid
sometimes it's
starters.
better if you're a second or third round pick because there's no pressure on you to get on the field until you're ready. You're not costing the team an arm and a leg. You're not having people in the fans screaming your name to put you in. If you're second round draft pick, you kind of come onto the field when you're ready, when you know the blitz scheme and how to do everything you're supposed to. So
That's right.
Next one. Thanks for creating content that challenges traditional views on sports. And that was from @Leanne. That was from our diving episode.
That's cool, Ian. We do try to not just do only the traditional sports, but we every once in a while we'll like to do these episodes, like the target sports, like the scuba diving. We've done a lot of stuff kind of outside the box, and we do it to
strange and cool sports,
Yeah, to try to keep you guys challenged too. Since you guys like to watch the channel, we want to give you good new stuff.
And we want to challenge ourselves. We want to stretch a little bit for things that we've been interested in but never really explored too much.
And that was a cool episode because we had some great guests, and we took on a sport that Rob and I don't know a whole lot about. So we learned a lot. So yeah, thanks so much.
Yeah. Next one. Love the shuffleboard and bocce. Thanks for great content, guys. @DPT Coaching. That was from our last week's episode of Target Sports.
That's awesome. We love shuffleboard and bocce too. So
yeah,
thanks so much. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Two of our favorites.
Next one and last one is archery and crossbow are my favorites. Would love to try archery tag at real estate investment.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Archery tag is one. I know Rob and I've done some paintball. Actually, Rob used to have paintball equipment.
Yeah.
And we looked at that archery tag, and it looks a lot like it. It really was a cool sport. I'd love to try it. It'd be fun.
Yeah, paintball's a lot of fun. It's a lot like it. So I had a blast in my heyday.
Exactly.
I don't know about crossbow, but archery, pretty cool.
I'll tell you, compound bow I've tried a couple times. I showed the picture last week of me doing the compound bow course, and it is fun. It's really fun. It's like shooting a rifle, but you're loading up crossbow. So a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. And that's all she wrote.
Well, some good ones there, Robbie. Any final thoughts to wrap up the week? Head into another week. We got a lot more hockey, a lot more basketball coming. The lacrosse playoffs advance. The NFL offseason still continues. Still got all these great free agents available.
All I got to say is stay strong out there, people. There's so much exciting sports. Don't, take it easy on your heart. Get rest when you can. It's so great.
Right.
It's so
quick update. The Carolina Hurricanes win the game 5-2.
Nice.
And are now up 3-1 in the series.
So goes back to Washington.
A lot of control. Caps did score 2 in that final period, but Hurricanes also scored a couple. So, and then it looks like the Knicks are going to win again. They're up 116-104 with a minute left. So what a shocker that somehow the Knicks are getting control of this series, and it looks like the Celtics may not be the team we thought they were.
I kind of feel like this is the last year the Celtics window open. Even though, Tatum's still pretty young, but it just feels like they're getting kind of old.
Isn't it kind of weird, though, that the Celtics and the Cavaliers would both flame out like this when they're the 1-2 seed? Essentially, the East, you have them play 82 games. They were clearly the two best teams in the East. And
I'm not sure why it's all happening, but
get into the playoffs and then you flame out. It's strange.
Yeah, I have been hearing a lot of little whispers about Boston's going to be not as good this year. They're a little expensive and they're a little bit old. And They're not doing anything real fresh, and
It's a little shocking though. The Celtics were a prohibitive favorite to go back to the finals, and this is.
Yeah.
I think their series is even more shocking than the Cavaliers series. The Pacers are pretty good,
Yeah.
but yeah, a lot of these series are
Well,
not turning.
I think they're a perfect example of why you don't want to be so dependent on the three, because when you get a little bit flat, you look terrible. And I think that's definitely been true of Boston. I mean,
and Cleveland.
and
Can't
Cleveland,
hit
yeah.
the broadside
Yeah.
of the gun.
Boston was first in the NBA history for most threes all year, and in the playoffs it's been dreadful. So
Sure.
I think when you tighten up a little and defense tightens up, just draining nonstop threes is not going to happen very consistently.
That's right.
It can happen on a game, but it can't happen like 4 out of 5 games in a row or something. So they're a perfect example of the modern NBA having limitations.
One thing I noticed on the Capitals Hurricanes game, do you know what sponsor they had on the ice there?
No.
Jersey Mike's.
Did they?
How cool was that?
Way to go, Jersey
They're
Mike.
skating over Jersey Mike's the whole time. It was cool.
I'll tell you, I had it twice this week. And,
Oh, it's the best.
God, it was so good. My family's so happy when we get it.
Well, guys, thank you so much for joining tonight. Please like this video, subscribe to the channel. We got some great content coming your way. We got another great episode later this week. We're excited to bring to you guys. And again, thank you so much for your likes, for your subscribes, for your comments. Keep them coming. We love the mailbag segment, and just can't thank you guys enough for all the support.
Thanks so much. We had a blast tonight, as always. And thanks for joining us on our journey. We can't thank you enough. And let's see what's next. Let's go.
Have fun with all the great sports this week. We'll see you guys next time.
Enjoy the sports.